So I just watched A Quiet Place Day 1, and I quite enjoyed it. I liked the previous two movies in this series, though I will admit they are not exactly perfect or anything. The first one being a pretty standard but fun horror movie that has a nice relationship between this family, and having a pretty fun premise by having these aliens hunt people through sound. But I would argue this series is most effective by its use of suspense, not only through sounds and how it builds it up with sound design, but even scenes without the overall sound gimmick are still really effective, in particular that nail. Oh my god, get that thing away from me.
Oh, no!
The second movie is good, though kind of lacks that overall emotional hook. You still like the family from the first, and Cillian Murphy is a pretty affable main character for this one, but ultimately it's just kind of more of the same while expanding the world in minute ways, while ultimately having kind of a similar climax to the first. I think it's a better directed movie than the first one, and John Krasinski proves that he can be affable behind the camera. I don't know about that If movie though, maybe he ruined it. I don't know yet. It looked really bad, so I just didn't want to go watch it.
Let him say it, or I think his head may actually explode.
With that being said, I wasn't exactly sure about this new one because it's a new director, a new setting, a bunch of new characters, essentially just dumbing down the Quiet Place formula into something that's easily even more accessible. Now, let me just walk you through this though. I was shocked to learn that this movie is not that, and actually the most grounded and most emotional of these movies to date. Taking a scenario and characters that honestly are kind of depressing when you think about it more and more, but it makes the characters not only feel alive, but real. Which, for how much I praised the first two movies, this movie does actively feel more intimate. And while the end of the movie is pretty somber, it's an emotionally satisfying conclusion that ultimately leaves the characters in a happy note. But trust me, they hit a lot of this in the trailers, which made it just seem like a standard horror movie, more of the same, with the characters running around New York City, and it's grand and cool. And to be honest with you, the movie doesn't focus on that as much as you would expect. It's in the movie, and the way that they build up to these scenes are suspenseful for the most part. Some of them are pretty contrived about how they happen, like a particular book scene, that was kind of annoying. When the characters are trying to run away, it is extremely suspenseful and well done. Surprising, since the director of this movie only directed one film in the past, and that was Pig. And, oh, that's starting to make sense. Quiet Place Day 1 is a very introspective movie, though if you really like this, I would recommend watching Pig, as that explores a lot of the same themes. This film is emotional, and it will hit you in the gut, though I feel like a lot of people are going to have a problem with that. They just want to go to the movies for a silly horror movie where the people run away if they make too much noise. And especially since the emotional hook of this movie has not been revealed in the trailers at all, despite the fact that it's revealed in the first couple scenes, is kind of ridiculous to me. But I'm not gonna spoil it. I'm not gonna do that. Lupita Nyong'o and Joseph Quinn are both amazing in this movie, and I literally like how both of their characters react to this apocalypse in different ways. For how much I like this movie, there are a couple issues for me that kind of made it a little annoying at certain points. For instance, there's a cat character, and this cat is just perfect in every way, knows where to go, where to come back, and stays absolutely silent throughout the entire movie. I get that it's a service cat, but that's ridiculous and doesn't make any amount of sense. The other problem is just simply that it isn't as scary as the other two. Well, yes, I said the suspense scenes are pretty good. They don't really live up to the same terror that you had in the first two. A lot of that is just mainly due to the fact that we've seen these aliens twice now. But another thing is that film isn't as suspense-filled as the other two. There's not a whole lot of scenes where we're just slowly building on this sense of terror before the creatures actually attack. It's more often jump scares, which are not good. There's one in particular that is so embarrassing that it made me roll my eyes to the back of my head. With that being said, the clear focus of this movie wasn't to be as scary as the other two. But at the same time, you go to this movie to be scared, and it kind of failed at that objective. In the end of the day, I really like this movie, though I understand why some people expecting a horror movie are disappointed. If you guys really want me to talk about spoilers, I can do that in another video and discuss certain things that people have a problem with. But I don't feel comfortable putting them in this video just simply due to the fact that there's some people who don't know anything about this film. Thank you. Have a nice day.